Midlife can be the hardest time of life. It feels like the hardest time in my life. I remember my parents having a very difficult time in their late 40s, early 50s. Of course, I had no idea. I was 20 some years younger, and I didn't understand what they were really grappling with. Lost jobs. So my father had a job forever, and the company closed, and he was faced with feeling obsolete, feeling like he didn't have the skills to do things that would bring him joy. And that was such a struggle. And my mother faced illness, changing of her body, and there was also job challenges. Now, whether it's relationship or job challenges, there's also a self-awareness that you didn't have in your 20s and 30s, facing the same difficulties. It's like all of a sudden you look back and you see these patterns that have contributed to where you are now. And you probably, on some aspects of your life, aren't living up to the ideal self you have. I know that there's so many areas, there's different areas in my life where I was like, couldn't I have done this better? And it can spiral down to real negative shame talk, where it's like, you don't know any better. You have no idea how to do this. You've been making the same mistakes over and over, even though you keep trying, you keep forcing things, but you keep doing the same thing. And you're so stupid. And why can't you figure this out? And how many courses and self-help books and things do you need to read? And how much therapy can a person have before they figure these things out? And it can keep you up at night. You know, you might come up with, random solutions. You might come up in your mind. You'll feel a twinge of hope and direction, then it fades just as quickly. We don't want to feel disappointed again. You may get then from this high sense of solution to a sinking feeling very quickly. And where before I had a lot of hope and I would jump into these solutions and act on them and hope for the best, not expect the worst, but it seems like the older I get, the more I am self-aware, and I am aware that some of times those solutions are not the best for me, but I don't know what else to do. This is what I have trained myself in, and this is what I've learned, and how do I get into a different thinking pattern that is good for me, not good for my neighbor, not good for the general public, not good for my friend who wants to give me advice. So I always thought I was the kind of person who doesn't get discouraged, who always expects the best from others and my own efforts. Now I'm wondering if my very being has been changed with age. Is this just what happens? One day you wake up and go, fuck, it's not working out, you idiot. It's like, remember the 10th time you tried that and it turned out the same? I mean, this is assuming you're even aware of your patterns. I am kind of aware of my patterns. I'm reading from some notes. I can't help it. It's so much. They aren't easy to look at. I admit to face our patterns once we trace them back. We start so early in life, many of our patterns. And back when we thought we were making good decisions, or we didn't think we would make the same bad decisions, and then we still choose the same the next time. And seeing that can be so painful and can really bring our self-image, our self-esteem sense of self-worth can feel quite beat up in those moments. So there is no clear way forward, and this reluctance, this fear of constantly running into brick walls, this fear, our recognizable pattern, well, it can be debilitating. It can stop us in our tracks. How do we navigate our future? We know we have heard that it is never too late to change, to make an impact. I've heard of people finding love, for example, later in life, or creating a masterpiece if they're an artist later in life, or finally getting to the career that they really love. And I know this can happen, but how do I make it happen for myself, you might be asking. One thought I have is to look back on my life and maybe make new connections. So if you think of all of our experiences in our past as just a smattering of dots, right? We've all played connect the dots as kids. Well, we look back at those dots and we connect them, and we come up with an image of ourselves based on those connections. But just as the game in childhood, there are other dots that we've left out, other dots that are not included in the picture. They are just there floating around. And the idea is to look back on your life and see if you can draw new lines of connection. Now, that doesn't mean that we've erased certain connections, we've taken them out. It just means that we're finding different patterns, different ways to view our experiences. Maybe we can hold 2 or 3 different connections at the same time. So we can see the bad, yes, but can we see the good? Can we hold that to be just as true? So I think about new ways of seeing my past as a way to unlock unrealistic, just for me solutions. I haven't done it all wrong, I can admit that. Some things have worked in my favor. So what has? How has it? Get into the detail of it. And working with someone on connecting new dots is very helpful, because sometimes we get very stuck in the perspective we have of ourselves, and it's hard to dislodge and see it, our life and our characteristics and our experiences through a new lens. And that new lens, that new perspective on your past can help you find really good new ways of facing the future so that you can thrive in midlife and beyond. I hope this was helpful. Jake Joy Therapy, I'm so happy to connect with you again. It's been a wild October for me. Ups and downs, highs and lows, sleepless nights and cheery times. How about you? Reach out.